Hey Stamping friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachael Coon, and today I'm sharing with you episode 9 of the Scrap series. Yeah, you heard me right. We are doing scrapbooking today, and I am part of a team of stampers who each week we come out with a new video to give you some tips and tricks of how to scrapbook with Stampin' UP products. Today we are featuring, or I say this whole month, we are featuring the new in colors. Let me show you those in colors, and then I'm going to show you how I do pocket scrapbook album style, and how you can convert a card, which is what I traditionally make, into a layout. All right, let's go over these new in colors real quick. So we have this orange type shade that's called Timid Tiger. We have Strawberry Slush, which was a returning color we used to have. And then we have Secret Sea, which is a really dark blue, almost black, makes a great base color. And then we have Darling Duckling. And you'll see there's only 4 stamp sets here. That's because the last one, I used my Stampin' Right marker. When they formatted the ink pad, it did not ever settle right. So they didn't want to sell us product that wasn't going to work. And so I do not have that actual ink pad, so I'm going to use a Stampin' Right marker for the cloud cover, which is this awesome shade of kind of like a light blue, but more of a warmer light blue, so like a pool party light blue. All right, those are the in colors. So let me set those aside and let me show you the card I've made using Stampin' UP products. This one right here, yes, is my card that has inspired the layout for today. I made this one for graduation using the cap and gown stamp set. This guy here. This is a classic. It was a carryover from the catalog, and we still have it available, which is great. I think we should honestly always have this one because there's always going to be some sort of graduation. And it has some great images along with sayings that could be perfect and applicable to this time of year. So hopefully this card and album page will inspire you to grab this cap and gown from my online store and to be able to give it a try, and then just have it always in your collection as graduations come and go. All right, so for this card, let me show you some of the items we've used. This is the Nested Essentials 6-sided shape that I've die cut out. And then if you look at those in color panels that I've created, I've used the joined together embossing folder. And then each one of them has a little in color embellishment, which I want to say it's called Flat Pearls. We'll grab those out in just a minute when we get started. When you open it up though, you will see this awesome inked images of the hat, the cap, I guess, and the little tassel, and it says congrats graduate. And I also like to create a little side pocket here. So let me show you using that designer series paper, which is called the Florals in Bloom, which feature the new in colors. So these all pair together nicely as I used all the in colors in here, and how we've featured each one in an inked image along with the cardstock and the embellishment. So kind of gives you a little sample of the items that you'll find in the in colors. All right, now how are we gonna make this turn into a scrapbook page? Let me grab my page protector out and to show you what we are doing. Oh, let me show you that joined together embossing folder, because you'll notice it has multiple. It's not one just giant design. It's like cracked over, and it has lots of different designs here, which was perfect for this one, where I honestly ran it through once and was able to get all these different embossings with one embossing folder. So this one worked perfect for this card and layout. And here are those in colors I was talking about. This is called the 2027 in colors Flat Pearls. We'll be using those as well. And I do love them because they have them in 3 different sizes and they are fairly flat. But check out that little shine. That's that pearl in it versus just like a dot. It has that pearlized look. All right. So when I say pocket scrapbooking, I'm talking about this type of album. It's a 6x8. This is the one that I had used for the last time I made some designs with. And I'll just continue to add to this one and to use it for whenever I need. I'll have so much scrapbooking I need to catch up on, so that I don't have photos to share with you today, but that you know this is the type of album it would go into, which you can find at my online store. And then for this one, we also need the page protectors, which I just love how easy they are. They have top loading and they have lots of different layouts. I chose the layout that has the 6x4 and then 2 of the 3x4. So that's what we'll be designing with and in mind today. And what I usually like to do is I'll have it laid out here, and then I'll either will slide on top or behind the pieces I'll need to make our card. So let me just keep it out, even though it's kind of shiny, so I apologize for that reflection you'll get. What I've done is I went ahead and made these measurements for the 6x4, which is different than a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So you just have to do a little bit of mathing and to get this to a different scale for the size that we need. So I have this base for our bottom piece here. That's the 4x6. And then I have the Secret C mat and just a 1/4 of an inch smaller. So that's going to be the 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then that designer series paper, which is double-sided. We have that beautiful floral look on one side and more of that Secret C on the other with that cloud cover. And that will be our mat for here. Let's go ahead and move this out and we'll start doing our gluing. I'm actually going to set this, we'll set it right, well, we'll set it off screen for a second and we'll bring it back in. Don't worry, because we want to make sure we put everything in there. For this one, we're just going to go ahead and do our liquid glue. I usually do a rectangle and either do an X or one slash so that it has it going all the way through. And we'll do our DSP to our mat, like so. Again, liquid glue on the back, giving yourself about a 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then creating a little bit of center space as well. All right. I work in an elementary school and they go a little glue crazy. You don't need to be covered on the whole back of it. In fact, that would almost ruin it. It would make it wet and take a long time to dry. And as the first graders have found out, that it just makes the paper kind of get even warped. But I do like liquid glue. We do have a double-sided adhesive called Stampin Plus or regular, but I like this one because when I lay it down, I am not laying it down perfect the first time. So I'm going to take a take 2, and I was able to pull it up and place it back down, which is key when you're not perfect, which I am not. So I love that this liquid glue has a little bit of forgiveness in there. All right, next we're going to take those strips of the in colors and we're going to glue them on kind of a scattered look to it. What I did for this one was picked a color row that I wanted to go with, but you can truly mix these because they look fabulous together. They're great alone. Like I could get away with just having these 2 colors for this card, but when we have them all together, they still look amazing. So my tip to you for when you attach these are 3 inch by 1 inch, is to grab your liquid glue, and I start with my outside panels. So I'm going to start with my far left with that Darling Duckling, and I'm going to have it go to a slant so that my top is going to the left and my bottom's going to the right. You could definitely have these go straight, but I like things not to be perfect, so it makes sense for me to have it a little bit shifted. And we want to match our card, right? That's our goal. So then what we're going to do is then take the other color, the Timid Tiger, to the other far right and do the opposite direction. So that one's kind of making like a V with these 2 ones, these 2 panels. Then we're going to grab our cloud cover, liquid glue and back. Isn't this so amazing? Seeing this embossing folder and all the different textures we have added. Look at that lattice. And this one, I'm going to go a little bit lower and I'm going to have it going the opposite direction as the Darling Duckling beside it. So it's dropping down and coming out the other way, creating, again, that little V shape. Then I'm going to add my strawberry slush for the center. And I picked the strawberry slush for the center because it was the card base, so I kind of wanted to have that like focus come back into it. And this one, you want it to touch that top cloud cover. All of them are overlapping just a little bit, but she's going to be mostly almost straight. And it is a little bit higher than the one beside it. Lastly, we have that secret C. Put some liquid glue on it. And this guy, I want him to be touching both of these colors here. So my strawberry slush and my timid tiger. And I'm going to have it come at an angle, but have it a little bit lower than the guy on the right. Looking like that. So, so pretty. Now, if I wanted to, I could add this here and make it exactly like that. But what I want to do actually is have this to be a spot where I'm going to put some photos. I could either put 2 photos here. I could put 1 giant photo. I would cut it down so that would be less than 3 inches. So you could still see those panels popping from the background there. Or I could even just do some journaling and write on here maybe the date and keep this a main focal image and save the other pockets for some photos. But I'm going to leave it like this for now. Oh, actually, we want to embellish, right? A little embellishing. And then we'll add it to our pocket. So I'm taking my paper snips to grab these flat pearls. And I'm going to start from my right and go to my left with size and location. So I'm going to put this one on the bottom corner of the right. And that's the largest one. Then I'm going to go to my secret C. And I'm going to take the middle size for this guy, and I'm just going to go up just a little bit. The tricky part about this is now, well, maybe I should wait to embellish. We'll keep on going because now I don't know where my photo is going to be. I'll use this one as a main focal point later and probably put some journaling in it, and we'll save the photos for the other part. I'm going to take this small one now and go up here with it. So it's on the top of that strawberry slush. The cloud cover, sorry. He's going to get the medium size pearl. And we're going to go below in between where these two head up. So this one's up higher, this one's down low, this is right in the middle. And then lastly, our darling duckling, he's going to come up here. He's going to be our highest guy up here in this lattice. Super cute. And just press down to make sure they're securely on there. Loving it. All right, on to our next part, and then we'll assemble all together. I wanted to have a little bit of those cute little graduation caps on this one. So I grabbed a piece of basic white, cut it down to that 4x3, and then I have created a pocket spot. So just like we had in our card here, we had that pocket in the inside. I wanted another pocket created on this one. We'll do some stamping, and then I'm going to attach this with adhesive only on the outside to put a pocket item. Sometimes at graduations you have a ticket to go in. That would be a great little thing to put into this pocket. You could also put in maybe a little note if you wanted to do some sort of note that can slide in and out. You could definitely add that to it. It's just fun to have pockets. However, if you don't want to use a pocket, you can glue the whole thing down and it wouldn't matter. And this guy here, I didn't even measure him. He's a 2x3 is how big and wide, which I could trim down a little bit if I wanted to have less, but I like that ratio for now. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of stamping. I want to share with you, I'm only do 3 of the hat and the caps because of the size. This one we had a full 5.5 workspace to go across. This one's not as big. If you wanted to, you could go all the way down with probably 4 of them, but we're going to do 3 on the top. The hard part is picking which 3 I want to use. I definitely am going to use this cloud cover, and I think I might go with these 3 then. These are some of my favorites. I love that pink and dark blue combo. That's one of my favorite classic go-tos. So let's go ahead and stamp these ones. I'm going to grab my secret C first, and I'm going to do the outside stamping. So we're going to ink it up. I get my practice piece back in. Nice. Ink it up. This one's going to go top left and kind of at an angle. Nice. I take my reusable wipe, which I love, and then we're going to tap it off so it's not wet. Put this guy away. All right, next we grab our strawberry slush, and I want the appearance of it look like these hats are being tossed. So nobody actually tosses their hats all at the same time, right? So we have them at different levels. So I'm gonna have this guy, he's gonna be actually a little bit higher and almost coming off this part here. So I'll put a piece of Post-it note behind it. So this one's gonna come at an angle and to the top. Nice. Again, wiping it clean so we can use for our next one. Right, putting our strawberry slush away. And then we're grabbing our Stampin' Write marker. Here's how you can still create inked images with this color. Or one of the ways, I should say. I've taken off my lid, so this is the color, the brush side. We have two sides. Hold on. We have two sides to our Stampin' Write marker. One is smaller, more for great journaling or writing, and this one's for more stamping and coloring. So that's the brush tip. And I'm just going to take it and color along my hat here. You can color on the photopolymer, but definitely these cling stamps, these rubber-based ones, are so much easier to color on. And I'm going to color till I feel like it looks like it's nice and saturated. If I had let this sit for a long time, I would want to make the ink come alive again, which you might have heard of that huff method, where you would just bring it to your mouth and make a little off-screen sound to make sure it's still nice and wet and looks good. So we'll do it one more, color through. We'll go faster this time because we have a base coat on there. Okay. You just have to make sure you're watching that there's no streaks and you color it all the way through. So when I did it, I went from one side to the other and then I kept on going off. So that way you don't see a stop point to my marker on here. No color lines is our goal. If it happens, it's okay. And then this guy, I'm going to have him coming down a little bit lower and he's going to be more centered or just going straight. So cute. Okay, get these out of the way. Let's add our DSP for the bottom to create that pocket. I'm going to grab some tear tape. And you just remove, I usually take the whole thing and I start to go and tear it as I go. So a longer piece than needed. And I'll come down one side and tear it. You can use scissors too if you want. And I'll come to the bottom, stretch it out, get to where I need it, and tear it. Thus the name tear tape. It is amazing. We used to have a red-based not tear tape, but like double-sided tape. And it was great, worked wonderfully, but you had to use scissors in order to release it, which isn't always convenient. So this was one of my favorite items from a couple years ago that they added to our catalog. You can get it from my online store. All right, now we have to make sure I just have it sticking down. Using my paper snips to help me catch that edge. There we go. One backing. Two backings. The last one. Again, you don't have to create a pocket if you didn't want, but since we're trying to mimic that card, we are creating a pocket. For the cards, I use it for gift cards. That's what I usually give to my graduates. Okay, super cute, super cute. And our last side, for the 3x4, all I'm using is a piece of that DSP. I have a little bonus strip that was left over from it that has a lot of those in colors in flowers. And I'm going to add that strip to the edge of our DSP. And call that one mostly good. Here's where I have the option if I wanted to add that journal piece here, which this is the third largest of that six-sided nested essentials die that we use exactly for the card. So it's the same size reference. And I would just go ahead and add some Stampin' Seal behind this and attach it there. You're probably wondering why not the liquid glue, because that's my go-to adhesive. I don't like liquid glue for basic white. I feel like you can see it through, and I don't want to see glue lines. So that's my other tip to you. Be picky about your adhesives. You have that option. All right, now let's place them in. So top loading, we're just going to slide this beauty in to our pocket, photo pocket. Same with this guy here. 3x4. And then this page is going to be ready for when I have some graduation photos I need to add. And there you go. Super cute. Looks very similar to the card we made. And then the fun part is I can use this part on the back to do some more stamping or add some more pockets. So these are double-sided. I could even leave this nice floral piece here and not use a whole nother piece. And that's the joy of this being double-sided, and we can see through to the back. So be mindful of that when you make your scrapbook layouts and pages. All right, you guys, I've had so much fun showing you guys the new in colors. I hope you have a favorite or two and you add them to your collection. Be sure to check my links in the description below for the next episodes of Scrap for the month of June to see even more ideas using these new in colors. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.